Have you ever looked back at a relationship, weeks, months, or even years later, and suddenly realized, wait a second, was she just using me the whole time? You sit there, maybe in your room or during a long walk alone, and piece together the moments. The red flags you ignored, the gut feelings you buried, the emotional manipulation disguised as affection. And then it hits you like cold water in the face. You weren't loved. You were used. If this thought even slightly echoes within you, then this video might just change the way you approach love forever. Before we go deeper, if you've ever been through the pain of betrayal, confusion, or emotional manipulation, subscribe to the channel and like this video. It helps spread Stoic wisdom to others. Navigating the chaos of modern relationships. And please stay with me till the end. The sixth sign is the most insidious and hardest to detect. But once you understand it, you'll never be the same again. In ancient Rome, Emperor Marcus Aurelius sat on the throne, not only ruling an empire but wrestling with matters of the heart and mind. His journal Meditations wasn't written for the world. It was written for himself. As he reflected on virtue, self-control, and human behavior, he unintentionally left behind a roadmap for us, those stumbling through emotional traps centuries later. What does Marcus Aurelius have to do with your past relationship? Everything. You see, Marcus wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed. Truth, no matter how painful, is freedom." So today, let's confront that truth. You may have been used, but you don't have to stay blind to it. One, you were a convenience, not a priority. Let me take you back for a moment. Back to that one night. Maybe it was raining. Maybe the city lights were flickering outside your window. You picked up your phone and typed a long message, something from the heart. You just wanted her to know how much she meant to you. You sent it, waited, watched. Typing, then nothing. A day passed. Maybe two. Then suddenly, "Hey, sorry, I was busy." But then you saw her Instagram story. Laughing with friends. Out at a cafe. Makeup perfect. Life moving. Just not with you. Does that bring anything up? Have you ever felt like you were reaching out across a canyon, calling out someone's name, only to realize they only show up when they need something? That's the first and maybe the most painful sign. You were a convenience, not a priority. It starts off subtle, doesn't it? She says she's overwhelmed. You offer help. She says she's short on rent. You send money. She's had a tough day. You drive across town to bring her her favorite snacks. And at first it feels good. You're showing love. You're being the man you're proud to be. But slowly something shifts. You start noticing a pattern. She's only affectionate when she wants something. She replies instantly when it benefits her. But when you need her, when you're struggling, silence. Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat alone staring at your phone, wondering why she doesn't check in on you the way you check on her? You tell yourself maybe she's just bad at expressing herself, or that you're overthinking, or maybe worst of all, that if you just try harder, she'll finally love you the way you love her. That's the trap. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." But when you're in this kind of relationship, you lose sight of that power. You start believing that love means sacrificing yourself over and over without expecting anything in return. And that's not Stoic love. That's slavery of the soul. I want you to pause and think of the first time you looked into her eyes. The way your heart raced, the way your chest felt lighter just being around her. That memory, it was real. Your feelings were real. But here's the hardest truth. Her intentions might not have been. You weren't her person. You were her safety net, her emotional sponge, her backup plan. Not because you weren't good enough, but because she never intended to give you the place in her heart you gave her in yours. If this hits home, don't click away. Don't suppress this. Don't brush it off. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll stop blaming yourself and start seeing clearly that love is not about being used. It's about being chosen fully, freely, and consistently. And if she couldn't do that, then brother, she never deserved you. Rather, emotional manipulation was her weapon. Let me ask you something personal. Do you remember the first time she made you feel like you were the problem? Maybe you caught her flirting with someone else. Or she canceled on your birthday last minute, and when you brought it up, calmly, respectfully, what happened? She didn't apologize. She didn't acknowledge your feelings. She flipped it. Suddenly you were the one who overreacted. You're too sensitive. You always twist things. You're imagining stuff again. Sound familiar? If it does, then you've felt the slow, corrosive burn of emotional manipulation. Let me tell you about someone named Adil. He wrote to our channel a few weeks ago, sharing his story. He said, "I used to think I was crazy. I'd remember things clearly, but every time I brought them up, she'd make me question them. It was like I was living in her reality, not mine." That's how manipulation works. It doesn't explode, it erodes slowly, quietly, stealthily. She didn't yell. She didn't threaten. Instead, she twisted your truth. And here's the scary part. Over time, you started believing her version of reality. You started saying sorry even when you were hurt. You started walking on eggshells around her, afraid of being called needy or too emotional, or worst of all, not man enough. Let's be honest for a moment. Have you ever stopped yourself from telling her how you really felt, just to avoid another argument? Have you ever second-guessed your own memories, wondering if you were making things up? That's not love. That's psychological warfare. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When someone constantly manipulates your emotions, they start to stain your soul. You lose the vibrant color of your own identity and take on the dull gray of doubt. But brother, that color still exists inside you. You just buried it to keep the peace, to hold on to someone who made you feel like you needed to earn being treated decently. Let me share something deeper. You might even recognize this. You had a fight. She hurt you. Maybe she disappeared for a day. No texts, no calls. You sat there heart pounding, wondering if it was over. And just when you were about to walk away, she came back. With tears, with softness, with promises. She knew exactly when to show love and when to withhold it. That's not romance. That's control. And you were caught in it. Not because you were weak, but because you were loyal, because you loved her. And that's the cruelest. Part of manipulation, it feeds on your strength and calls it weakness. So if this is your story, don't blame yourself. Just promise me one thing. Stay with this video. There are more signs, more clarity, more truth. And the moment you see the full picture, you'll never be tricked like this again. 3. She was never truly there for you. Let me ask you something real. Have you ever gone through something painful? A loss, a setback, a dark night where the world just felt too heavy? And in that moment, did you turn to her? And did she just not show up? Not physically, not emotionally, not even with a text that said, "I'm here for you." If you felt that, then you already know this third sign. Deep in your heart, she was never truly there for you. Let's rewind a bit. You were there for her, weren't you? When she cried over something at work, when she had drama with friends, when she needed someone to believe in her, you were her rock. You stayed up late, talked her through her anxieties, even skipped things for yourself just to be present for her. You didn't just love her, you supported her soul. But when life punched you in the gut, she disappeared like fog in the morning sun. Maybe your dad got sick, maybe you lost your job, maybe your mind just wasn't okay for a while, and she made you feel like your pain was an inconvenience. She didn't check in, she didn't hold your hand, she didn't sit beside you in your silence. Instead, she said things like, "You're being too negative. I can't deal with this right now." Or worse, she distanced herself completely like your pain wasn't her problem. And that's the moment it all hits you. You were in a one-sided relationship. You didn't have a partner. You had an audience that clapped when you were strong, but left when you stumbled. Think back. Think of a night when you needed her most. You stared at your phone, hoping her name would pop up. And when it didn't, you still made excuses for her. You told yourself she was tired. You told yourself you were too much. You tucked your emotions under the carpet just to keep her around. That was not love. That was survival. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. But love is a two-way privilege, not a one-way sacrifice. When someone truly loves you, they show up not just when the sky is clear, but when the storms hit hard. And if she couldn't be there for you in the storm, she didn't deserve to dance with you in the sunlight. But here's the good news. Now you see it. Now you feel it in your gut. That quiet knowing you pushed aside for too long. You're not crazy. You were just loyal to the wrong person. And trust me, when someone truly loves you, you'll never have to question whether they'll be there when you need them. 4. She kept you away from her real life. Let me ask you something intimate. How well did you really know her? Not just her favorite song or the kind of coffee she ordered. I mean her world, her people, her daily life outside of the bubble you both shared. Because if you stop and think about it, maybe you'll realize something you tried to ignore. She kept you at arm's length. Yes, she kissed you. Yes, she texted you. Yes, she might have even said, "I love you." But when it came to introducing you to the people who mattered, her close friends, her family, her coworkers, you were invisible. Do you remember how it felt? You'd ask about meeting her parents and she'd say, "They're too old-fashioned. They wouldn't understand." You'd bring up hanging with her friends and she'd respond, "It's just a girls' night." You wouldn't enjoy it. And at first you accepted it, because you loved her, because you trusted her timing. But deep down a little voice kept whispering, "Why am I always on the outside of her life looking in?" You'd see her post pictures online, laughing at parties, posing with friends, moments you weren't part of. You'd scroll through her feed and feel like a ghost in her story. Have you ever loved someone so much that you made room for their entire world, but they couldn't even introduce you to theirs? It stings, it confuses, it makes you question your worth. But listen to this, Marcus Aurelius once said, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." And when you're with someone who hides you, you do lose a part of your self-respect. You start wondering, am I not good enough to be seen? Why am I her secret when she's the center of my world? And here's the truth you may have buried. People hide things they aren't serious about. They keep side options in the shadows. They protect images more than intimacy. If she never brought you into her real world, it wasn't an accident. It was a decision. A choice to keep you in a pocket of her life where she had control. Because once you're truly part of someone's life, their actions have weight, their choices have accountability. And maybe she wasn't ready for that. So let me ask you again, brother. Have you ever sat in your car looking at her profile, wondering why there was no sign of you? That wasn't love hiding. That was manipulation masked in mystery. But don't blame yourself for staying. You stayed because your heart was honest. Just promise yourself this. You'll never again settle for someone who treats you like a hidden chapter while you were trying to write a forever story. 5. You always felt insecure around her. Let's be honest. Have you ever looked in the mirror and asked yourself, why do I feel like I'm never enough for her? You fix your hair. You wear your best shirt. You even change the way you talk just to keep her interest. But no matter what you do, something inside you whispers, she's slipping away. That's not love. That's slow destruction. See, real love should make you feel safe, grounded, like you can show up as you are and still be enough. But if she made you feel like you were always competing for her attention, competing with other guys she'd casually mention, competing with her mood, her ego, her indifference, then you weren't in a relationship. You were in a game where the rules changed every day, and the prize kept moving further away. I want you to think back. Remember the first time you caught her liking some guy's shirtless photo? Or when she laughed a little too hard at another man's joke? While you stood right there? Or when she said things like, "You're lucky I'm even with you," or "Other guys would die to have me," and you laughed it off. You told yourself she's just confident. It's not a big deal. But it was. Because slowly, subtly, she chipped away at your self-esteem. You started to believe you had to constantly prove your worth. You overcompensated. More gifts, more time, more effort. Trying to earn love you were already giving unconditionally. And in the process, you started disappearing. You stopped doing the things you loved. You neglected your own friends. You even held back your opinions because deep down you were afraid she might leave. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." But when your only ambition becomes pleasing someone who makes you doubt yourself, you start shrinking into someone you don't recognize. Let me share something raw. You're not the only one. There are thousands of men out there right now, sitting in silence in relationships where they feel small, not because they are small, but because they've been made to feel that way. And if this resonates with you, then I want you to know something powerful. It's not you. It was never you. She saw your light, and instead of standing in it with you, she tried to dim it so she could shine brighter. That's not love. That's ego. You deserve someone who builds you up, not breaks you down, who makes you feel seen, not suspicious, Who reminds you of your power, not your insecurities? So if you've been living in that quiet ache, that tension, that question of, am I good enough? Then stay right here, because the final sign will bring everything into focus. This story isn't over, and neither are you. 6. She only showed up when she needed something. When did she text you most? Was it when you were struggling? Or was it when she needed something? Think about it. You could go days, maybe even weeks without hearing from her. But the moment her car broke down, the moment she had a fight with her best friend, the moment she needed money or validation or just a place to unload her pain, she was there. Suddenly she remembered you existed. Suddenly you became important again, but only until her needs were met. Then she disappeared back into her silence. Sound familiar? That wasn't love, brother. That was convenience. You were the emotional vending machine, always available, always reliable. She'd press a few buttons, say the right things. Hey, I miss you. You've always been there for me. Can I come over? And like the good man you are, you welcomed her. Because you loved her. Because you remembered the good times, the laughs, the soft moments when it felt like you were her world. So you told yourself maybe this time is different. Maybe she finally sees me. Maybe now she'll stay. But she never did. She always came needing something, never giving anything. You were her comfort zone, her backup plan, her emotional support system without the commitment. Do you remember the birthdays you remembered, but she forgot yours? Do you remember the hours you spent listening to her cry over someone else? While she never asked how you were really doing, it hurts, doesn't it? Because deep down you just wanted to be enough. But let me remind you of something Marcus Aurelius once said. Don't waste time arguing what a good man should be one. And you were the good man. You showed up. You stayed kind. You loved fully. But the truth is, being good doesn't mean allowing yourself to be used. You weren't her partner. You were her safety net. And I know that's hard to hear. Because when you love someone, you want to be needed. But being needed is not the same as being valued. Now take a moment. Remember a time she reached out to you after weeks of silence. Your heart raced. You hoped it meant she missed you. But within minutes, she asked for a favor. Money. Help. A distraction from her chaos. And once you gave it, she left again. That's not love. That's exploitation with a pretty face. You deserve more than that. You deserve a woman who checks in when she doesn't need anything, who holds your hand, not just your wallet, who values your presence, not just your usefulness. So if you've been living in that cycle, hoping it'll turn into something real, please hear this. Real love doesn't take only when it's empty. It gives even when it's full. Stay with me. You made it through all 6 signs, and if this story sounded like yours, it's time to rewrite the ending. So what now? Marcus Aurelius believed in logos, the divine reason, that even suffering, even betrayal can serve a greater purpose if we allow it. The Stoic way is not to wallow in bitterness or self-pity. It is to learn, to grow, to transform pain into power. You weren't foolish for loving her. You were brave. Brave enough to hope, brave enough to give. And now you must be brave enough to walk away, not just from her, but from the version of yourself that tolerated being used. Forgive yourself. Reclaim your power. And remember this Stoic truth. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Life is short. Don't waste another moment on people who only see your value when it benefits them. Your time, your energy, your love, they are sacred. Guard them like a Roman general. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.